Всем здравствуйте, с вами игровой канал Tera Nova. Сегодня у нас прохождение игры The Outer Worlds Spacer Choice Edition, часть вторая. Всем приятного просмотра и настроения. Здорово.
Any progress on that matter we discussed?
Я достал твою книгу.
Wonderful. This is fantastic. Well worth all the sacrifices I... Wait. What the fuck is this? Is this... French? I can't fucking read French. It's a law-forsaken joke is what it is. French. Ha! I was so high and mighty, preaching to the yokels about following the plan, while fighting it at every turn.
Ты хотел не оградить других от этой книги, а сам ее почитать. Тебе не кажется, что ты слишком бурно реагируешь? Вот это вот.
Overreacting? Do you have any idea how many years I spent in... No. You couldn't possibly know, could you? I've spent my life searching for the keys to unlocking the secrets of the universal equation that underlies the plan. I had hoped this book held some of those answers. I became so desperate, I even got myself assigned to this plague-ridden backwater to find the damn thing. All the time and suffering I've spent. Wasted.
Почему-то ты думал, что в этой книге сокрыты ответы на твои вопросы.
Bakonu, the author, had some interesting theories about man's perception of reality that I thought could be applied to our attempts to decipher the plan. Unfortunately, he was also one of the founders of the Philosophist school of thought, so the book is banned in this colony.
А кто это софист?
Philosophism's a false religion that stands in contradiction to almost everything we know to be true. They believe all is chaos, in stark contrast to OSI's belief in the plan. But most of the philosophist perversion of Bakonu's thoughts came more than a century after his death.
Возможно, это своего рода космическое воздаяние.
Yes, you're right. Such are the workings of the equation. And I've only my own hubris to blame. I certainly never planned for this contingency. But that's neither here nor there. What I need to do now is to find a translator, obviously. But to do that, I'll first need to secure transport. You have a ship. Perhaps I could make myself of use to your crew.
Это может быть выгодно нам обоим. Тебе нужно уехать из города, а мне пригодился бы помощник.
Certainly. I already gave you most of my money, but I can offer you free spiritual counseling, and I'd be happy to watch your back. I'm pretty handy with a tossball stick, or any blunt instrument really. I'm also a passable gun hand if it comes to that. I can usually talk my way out of conflict, though. Oh, I'm fairly competent at hacking computers as well.
Этому учат в школе викариев.
Well, understanding computers is, though I admit I took it further than most. And I was quite the 32nd back during my seminary days. Left many an opponent bleeding on the field.
А ты точно викарий? Викарии так не разговаривают.
Of course. I'm a vicar who is dedicated to his calling. More dedicated than any other you'll find in this colony. I joined the OSI to help decipher the grand plan. But instead, I ended up the vicar in a prison due to ignorance and politics. Then I came here. Satisfied?
Как ты очутился в тюрьме?
Most lay people are not aware of this, but we've not discovered any new insights into the plan for a long, long time. I had an idea that we should welcome the truth, no matter where we found it. I had the worse idea to share my thoughts with a superior. And that's the long and short of it. So, what do you think?
Отлично, ты в деле.
Fantastic. Let me get my things in order and I'll catch up with you.
Edgewater's gonna miss you. Folk here always had good things to say about their vicar.
Thank you, Ms. Holcomb. I'll be glad for the change of scenery and to leave this place behind. I shall see you on the ship, Captain, whenever you're ready to leave Emerald Vale.
Wanted to poke around in here.
Unexpected.
All together.
Security.
Mr. Thompson said to talk with Miss McDevitt before doing anything here? Three switches. That'll be easy enough.
System alert.
Just two more. What'll happen to Miss McDevitt's folk if we send power to the Vale?
Search failed. Suspicious data not found. Self-diagnostics complete. Navigation systems operational. Combat systems operational. It's not the best choice. It's the spacer's choice.
Странно, почему ты не нападаешь?
Hostile actions towards spacer's choice mechanics are contrary to logical directive. Conclusion: all hostile automechanicals must be defective in compliance with spacer's choice policy. All defective automechanicals must be permanently dismantled. Please allow me to assist.
Ты вызываешься помочь мне уничтожить остальных автоматонов. Я правильно понимаю?
Affirmative. Mechanicide protocols loaded. Awaiting confirmation.
Подтверждаю. Хорошо звучит, а?
Mechanicide protocols currently active. Please do not interrupt.
$80. Попробуем вот это взять. Это наверх. Надо здесь доисследовать. Тут где-то вражины были. Непонятно только где они. Туда не пойти. Ладно. Идем тогда на миссию. Как же модификации вставлять? Посмотреть.
Bring us honor, soldier.
Ты поменял логический модуль. Я нашел один на геотермальной электростанции.
Bang up work, soldier. You're a credit to your uniform. Oh, that reminds me. Gotta look into getting us a uniform. So this is it then. The key to humanity's victory over the mechanical hordes. I would reward you with the gratitude of the resistance, but I'm guessing you want something tactile. So here's a couple bits for your trouble, and a little something to remember me by.
Всего хорошего. Так, задание. Так, сюда пойдем.
Move along, stranger. We don't want any trouble. I don't know you. Whatever you're looking for, it ain't here. Move along.
Я ищу Аделаиду, мне нужны ответы.
Answers, huh? You must be one of those philosophicals. Already got ourselves one of those.
Рид говорил, что где-то за пределами города живут его бывшие работники.
Yeah, that's us. And you can tell Thompson we're doing just fine by ourselves. If you're gonna start wandering around my camp, know that I got my sights on you.
Где я могу найти Аделаиду?
Over in the hothouse, tending crop. Enough with the questions. No offense, but I've got a lot on my mind.
Мародеры достали.
You don't know what enough with the questions means? No, I'm sorry. That was unworthy of me. Lady named Zoe went missing some nights ago. Just up and vanished without a trace. Now I'm pacing around wondering if marauders got to her.
Я постараюсь ее найти.
It's not like Zoe to go wandering. Figured she might be out scavenging, but that ain't exactly her talent. Can't imagine where she's gone. Vale's a wide place. She could be anywhere.
Это если до нее не добрались мародеры, тогда она может быть в многих местах сразу.
Could do without the gallows humor.
Мне нужно немного больше знать о Зои.
I'll tell you what I can.
Есть какие-то предложения, где она может быть?
Vex me. If she told anybody, they ain't telling me. I'd check her room, but I got yelled at for snooping once already.
Ты залезла в ее комнату?
Little ways ago. She was always obsessing over her serial dramas. Wanted to see what the fuss was about.
Насколько хорошо ты ее знаешь?
Well, enough to know we never got on. Zoe and Stefan were close. If anybody knows the workings of her mind, he does.
Может, Зою забрали мародеры?
Could be. Dangers aplenty out there. No telling why marauders would steal somebody like Zoe. Got no useful skill as far as I could tell.
Можешь указать мне хоть какое-то направление поисков?
Marauder gang just moved into the districts a little ways east. Their numbers are growing. Gotta come from somewhere.
Давай сменим тему.
What is it?
Всего доброго.
You hungry? We got canid ribs, canid flank, canid snout too. Something I can help you with?
Что ты продаешь?
Fresh off the limb, and that includes canid meat.
Ух ты, пистолет, просто космос. 192 урона.
Something I can help you with?
Мне сообщили, что кто-то из ваших людей пропал.
You mean Zoe? Yeah, we were pretty close. Not like her to go loping off.
Что случилось в день, когда Зои пропала?
Zoe and I were gonna watch the serials, as is our custom. She never turned up. I looked around, but she was nowhere to be found. You sound like some type of corporate fixer asking all these questions.
Расскажи мне про Зою.
Zoe was always obsessed with this serial. Masked Marketeer. A scion of Byzantium turns to banditry and teaches his marauder companions the wisdom of free market economics. Shame she up and vanished when she did. I had a surprise lined up for her.
Она вела себя странно перед тем, как пропала.
Can't say I recall Zoe ever acting strange. Well, except for her habit of writing things down on scraps of paper. She called it journaling, but I think it's just plain odd.
Что за сюрприз для Зои ты упомянул?
The other day, I got my hands on a genuine copy of the latest Masked Marketeer. I was gonna surprise Zoe with it, but she was gone the next day.
Погоди, я хочу спросить кое-что еще.
Hey, I got time.
Увидимся.
Where are we headed?
Я хочу спросить об одной вещи, которую ты упоминал.
In the bar? When I asked if you were a drinker?
У тебя был тревожный вид.
Sorry. I know it's none of my business.
Никогда не откажусь от выпивки.
It's not like I think it a failing, mind. It's just I live right across the road. Most nights I watch folks out my window. When they come in here, they might be happy or sad. Mostly they're tired. When they leave, they're mad at themselves. Or they stumble into the alley and I listen to their hearts breaking.
Не боишься жить прямо напротив подобного места?
There's been scary nights, but Constable Reyes is right up the road. She keeps an orderly town.
Так за дело.
I don't know anybody who ever came out this far. Wish I could do that.
Wow, you crossed them all off, like some sort of heroic accountant running down a list. Teach me your ways.
Зои, твои тебя ищут.
What? You mean Adelaide's little congregation of nature-loving nobodies? I could not possibly be less interested in them. You, on the other hand, you were a sight to behold. If I had half your skills, I'd be the greatest outlaw the coast has ever seen.
Я хочу кое-что у тебя уточнить.
I'm great at clarifying.
Тебя держали в плену?
No. I insinuated myself into their company, see? And they didn't seem to mind one whit.
Вот это да, как ты умудрилась.
I may have bartered them a few boxes of Adrena time, but yeah, I'm sure that's got nothing to do with it.
Как ты до сих пор не погибла?
I don't know. The vital processes that constitute the miracle of life are mysterious and unknowable. Oh, you mean around these guys? The Marauders wouldn't hurt me. They love me. I'm practically their queen. Yeah, must be my natural charisma.
Почему ты ушла из лагеря?
I got kicked out of Edgewater on account of falling sick with plague and stealing some medicine to treat myself. I'd heard some outlaws set up camp in the botanical labs. I decided to throw in with them, seeing as I always wanted to be an outlaw myself. Instead, what do I find? But a bunch of former workers camped out around a greenhouse. I couldn't just go back to the cannery, so I was stuck with them.
На самом деле я хочу спросить еще кое-что.
I've got all the time in Halcyon.
Меня попросили найти тебя.
Why? Adelaide wants me back on garden duty or something? Thanks, but I'm not going anywhere. This is where I belong.
Убеждение 15. Возвращайся, за тебя волнуются.
I doubt that. Nobody in that camp really cared about me.
Стефан хочет сделать тебе сюрприз, показать эпизод твоего любимого сериала.
Wait, you're telling me he's got a copy of The Masked Marketeer? Why didn't you say so? I'll take my stuff and head on back, I suppose. Grace is going to be glaring knives at me, so I've got that to look forward to.
Всего хорошего.
What is it?
Я говорил Зои вернуться.
We didn't always get along, but I'm glad to know she's safe. What happened, anyway?
Я так понял, она хотела быть незаконна, думаю, лучше без лишних подробностей.
You pretty much did my job for me. Least I could do is pay you for your trouble. Let me know if I can do something for you.
Всего доброго.
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear?
Вы, наверное, Аделаида.
I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother, the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt? Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned.
Это ваша теплица?
No, dear. The garden belongs to us all. Life is the gift of the universe, and the universe yields its bounty equally, absent of prejudice.
Удивительно, что вам удалось что-то вырастить.
The soil around the Vale went sour years ago, but I found a way to sweeten it back up. The secret recipe is a little bit of elbow grease, a dash of love, and a heaping pile of special fertilizer.
Я смотрю, вы тут удобно расположились.
A home for anyone who's ever turned their backs on Edgewater. A home for those of us with nowhere left to go and nothing to lose. So, like the spores of the puffball, cast on the wind and alighting on fresh soil, we put down new roots.
Почему вы покинули город?
It is an unpleasant story, dear. But the short of it is that sometimes one wakes up and realizes the place that was once her home for much of her life has changed. The home in which we spent our lives has left us behind, and so we must move on. And that is as much as I will say on the subject.
Меня прислал Рид, он предлагает мир.
Reed Thompson? You here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it. What's Reed's idea of peace, then?
Рид просит вас хотя бы обдумать возвращение в город. Он готов пойти вам навстречу.
Make amends? Spare me. Only thing Reed knows how to make is a mess. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves.
Рид просит меня отвести мощность, которую вы используете к заводу. Он говорит что-то о геотермальной электростанции.
He would do such a thing. The question is, why would you agree to his plans?
В вашем лагере есть регулятор мощности. Он нужен мне для ремонта корабля.
Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip them out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're going down to the plant, You should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do.
Что вы имеете против города?
You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scrap Spacer's choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Ms. Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them.
Допустим, я помогу вам. Что тогда будет с Edgewater?
Life in Edgewater grinds to a halt. The cannery shuts down, workers desert in droves, and our own little camp grows and thrives.
Вы думаете, что Рид просто хочет... Маловато, конечно. Ну, что сделаешь? Что? Подожди, загрузить. Я на него нападать не хотел-то. Так, что тут у нас есть? Ничего.
You're not real. You're not real.
Кто это говорит? Так, туда, нашел внизу.
No, just leave me alone. Get away!
Это кто такой?
You're not real. You're not real. Get away from me, Phantom. Shoot! Scram!
Успокойся, я тебя не трону.
You can talk? The Phantoms never talked before. I knew I shouldn't have eaten that sprat raw. See, Higgins? This is why you must always boil your sprats before ingesting.
Я тебе не мерещусь.
Of course. Do excuse me. I experience brief flashes of mania during which I am visited by the phantoms of my imagination. Chester D. Higgins. The D stands for definitely not insane. I use it as a reminder.
Что у тебя за должность?
Oh, Higgins has been many things over the years. Sprat Wrangler, Saltuna Critic, Aetherwave Personality, Chairman of the Board, Galactic Defender, Sisty Pig Tycoon. I've come a long way for someone who started off as a simple engineer right here in this plant.
Инженером был, говоришь?
I specialized in automechanicals, drones, sentries, repaired them, maintained, upgraded, did it all from my old workroom just over in the next section.
Как же ты здесь живешь?
Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted a good couple of months. Eventually, I had to resort to more unconventional means of filling my insides.
Похоже, станция давно заброшена. Что случилось?
Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on anything that moved. It was pandemonium.
Но тебя не убили.
I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old boss had me scrubbing pipes when the killing started. So, as usual, I missed out.
И ты все это время живешь под землей? Как ты не умер с голоду?
Jimmy'd opened the vending machines. That lasted a good couple of months. Eventually, I had to resort to more unconventional means of filling my insides.
И ты переключился на шприц?
Braised. Boiled, charred, skewered. Sprats are good eating, friend. Chock full of brain food.
Что случилось со станцией?
Mechanicals lost their bolts. Opened fire on anything that moved.
Ужасно. Как такое случилось?
You mean, why did the Mechanicals go on a murderous rampage? Same reason any of us do, I suppose. The voices told them to do it. I was on cleaning duty at the time. My old boss had me scrubbing pipes when the killing started. So, as usual, I missed out.
Раз ты работал над автоматонами, ты должен ведь знать, как их остановить.
Look, I don't want to fall into any trouble with the Mechanicals. If they wise up to our plans, they will come for us. With prodding irons.
Убеждение 15. Я разберусь с автоматонами. Сюда ведь я дошел, так?
You know, you remind me of myself back when I was an intergalactic adventurer. I discovered a flaw. Their hostility levels were hardwired to maximum. There's no changing that, but you could rewrite their targeting protocol so they attack each other instead.
Инженерия 10. Поведением автоматонов управляют логические модули. Кто-то их перепрограммировал.
Yes, that's exactly it. I see you're also versed in the noble art of mechanical engineering. There's a behavior control terminal in the other room. It should have options to change how the mechanicals act, including whom they shoot at. Oh, that reminds me. You'll need my passcode to access the behavior control terminal. Here, let me just write it down for you.
Хочу кое-что спросить.
The tail. Definitely start with the tail. If you're feeling adventurous, the ears are a particular delicacy.
Погоди.
Forgot what you were gonna say? Me too.
Я пойду, пожалуй. Так. Терминал можно найти, значит.
behind the scenes. You're liable to get scalded. Incoming!
Рабофобия. Автоматонно вызывает у вас нервную дрожь, поэтому их присутствие действуете менее эффективно. Прикол. Урон за каждый изъян. Это прикольная штука. Так, броня сломалась, надо будет починить ее. Так, здесь надо что-то поискать. Тут вроде ничего нет. Тут. Так, может здесь что-то есть интересное. Так, а мне что-то здесь дали, да? Ручной пулемет. 215, 320. Если этого можно взять. Ботаническую лабораторию можно. Ну, я думаю, ботаническая лаборатория.
Hey, mister? Look, I know you want your power regulator and all, but I just gotta ask you. Do you understand what you're about to do?
Я не против услышать твое мнение.
I don't think you should cut off Edgewater's power. I think it would be cruel. I'm sorry. That just sort of came out all at once. Edgewater's hurting. We've been losing workers year after year, and corporate hardly ever sends replacements. There's barely enough Saltuna to fill our bellies anymore. But the town's got some good people in it. Decent, hard-working folk just living their lives the only way they know how. They don't deserve to be punished.
Рид сказал мне, что без работника электричества Эджуотер погибнет. Дезертиры — это целая община, я не могу уничтожить то, что они создали.
Miss McDevitt's built something beautiful. Somehow she's talked the ground into giving life again. It's plain to see she's made the Vale a better place. Fed the hungry, tended the sick. Gave a home to those that had none. But Miss McDevitt delights in Edgewater's suffering. She wants to hurt the town. Do you really want to be party to that kind of hatred?
Рид сказал мне, что без работника электричества Эджуотер погибнет.
That sure sounds like Mr. Thompson. If he was standing here, I imagine he'd remind us of how we're all one big, happy Spacer's Choice family. In Mr. Thompson's eyes, those deserters are still part of the Spacer's Choice family. The family must work together in order to survive. I hate to say it, but I think Mr. Thompson's got a point. Unless those deserters come back, Edgewater's as good as dead. Cutting off their power might be the only way.
Вижу, к чему ты клонишь. Думаю, я готов принять решение.
Sorry, I didn't mean to babble on like that. I felt like I had to say something.
Я рад, что ты не промолчала. Мне нравится тебя слушать.
Really? I mean, wow. Thanks. No one's ever told me those words in that order.
Что же выбрать? Давайте попробуем перенаправить питание на Эджуотер.
Oh, that's Thomas. He used to follow me around before he left the cannery.
That's the thing about growing old. Your eyes start to fail. Elsewise, I would have seen you for the snake that you are, chopped you into pieces and roasted you on a spit. This is all you're doing. Cutting off my power, killing off my garden. Without refrigeration, my food will spoil, and my flock will starve. I want to ask you this in private, away from the eyes of my flock, so they do not see me lose my temper. Tell me, why did you do it?
Риду нужны люди.
You want my flock wasting their lives in that cannery? Fine. Go and talk to them. Go talk to Grace and Thomas Look them in the eye and tell them their life here is over, and the only thing left to do is go back to Edgewater. This is now your responsibility. And you tell Reed Thompson that I will never return to Edgewater. I would rather die among my flowers than live under his management.
Что с вами случилось, Аделаида? Не просто же так, у вас только ненависть.
My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear.
Вы сейчас сильно неправы. Возвращайтесь в Edgewater.
As long as Reed is still in Edgewater, I will not return. Those are my terms.
Я готов разобраться с Ридом ради вас.
You offering to cross Reed off, huh? This some sort of twisted reparation for what you've done? Or you just looking for a chance to sow some chaos? Kill Reed if you must, or talk him into leaving if you can. He and I are not sharing the same four walls together.
Просто так Рид свой пост не покинет. Убедить его будет трудно.
Tell Reed that I can make his people healthy again. I can end their plague. Start a new garden right in the cannery. 3 square meals for every man and woman in Edgewater. Tell him how I've made the Vale bloom again. The soil has whispered its secrets to me, and I alone know how to breathe life back into the earth. The secret is human corpses. I've been grinding them up in my fertilizer for years. Marauder, worker, don't matter much to me. The human body is rich with nutrients.
Что будет, когда тропы закончатся?
Edgewater cemetery's got corpses aplenty. Enough for a generation's worth of crops.
Хватит разговоров. Так, сначала к Риду пойдем.
This is a fine day, friend. Power flows through our town like a cool stream of water. I trust Adelaide's people have seen their way to reason. So, when can I expect them back at their posts?
Я поговорил с Аделаидой, она не вернется, пока вы здесь. Я хочу с вами поговорить.
Go ahead.
Вы давно интересовались, что происходит в вашем городе?
It is my job to keep 2 eyes on my town. I am the steward of this place, and this is my watch post.
Давно вы здесь работаете?
I'm trying to remember 25 years, 26. When you get to my age, the years just rush by. You stop counting altogether. I remember looking out this window and seeing the Vale spread out from horizon to horizon. We were a sprawling town. We were booming. Times change, people change, but the Vale will always be here. Spacer's choice will always be here. Our work won't ever end. I take comfort in that.
Ваш город разваливается на части.
I wish you wouldn't say things like that.
Вы со мной не согласны?
Yes, as a matter of fact. When I stand at my window and look out over my town, here's what I see. I see decent, loyal, hard-working people. I see a family. We are all part of the Spacer's Choice family. We are all doing what we were brought into this world to do.
Верны просто космосу.
This is a Spacer's Choice town. We're all part of the Spacer's Choice family here. The company keeps us warm, keeps us fed, keeps us working. Loyalty's got nothing to do with it, friend. This is good old-fashioned gratitude.
Позвольте спросить кое-что еще.
Go ahead.
Нам нужно поговорить об эпидемии.
Can we not? Talking about unpleasant things always gets my bile up.
Давно люди болеют.
That I cannot say. There was no moment when the plagues began. Disease always lurks on the fringes of society, waiting to infect the idle and the lethargic. But in the last 10 years, the plagues have become progressively worse and increasingly frequent.
Медицина 16. После длительного контакта с одним и тем же штампом вы должны были выработать иммунитет.
Corporate doesn't like us using the word should. It encourages the imagination. I believe plague is a test. It is a test of our loyalty and our fortitude. And it is one we will see through to the end.
Вы не даете своим работникам лекарств.
If I had enough medicine to treat everyone who fell sick, I would, but I don't. I can't save everyone. So I have to choose.
Вы позволили сыну Аделаида умереть.
Adelaide's son was barely competent. I treat him with our medical rations, and it looks like I'm playing favorites. Now, I will not pretend to understand the suffering Adelaide must have felt on account of losing her child, but she is not the only one to have felt such suffering. I wish she had stayed with us. Adelaide left us when we needed her most.
Позвольте спросить кое-что еще.
Go ahead.
Почему вы думаете, что я смогу убедить дезертира вернуться?
That you are not one of us may work to your advantage. Adelaide and her folk loathe the people of Edgewater, you see. I admit the fault was mine. I'm about as diplomatic as a bristling canid. I just hope Adelaide and her folk will see their way past my flaws and return to town.
Люди не обязаны всю жизнь проводить на одном месте, иногда они идут дальше.
Scripture tells us we all have our purpose in the world. Our work shows us that purpose. We should not have to move on from it. Yes, we have lost good workers to desertion. We have lost even more to plague. But it is why we must square our shoulders and carry on.
Вы с Аделаидой были хорошо знакомы?
Losing Adelaide was the hardest. She was our only flavor specialist. When she walked away, I knew we were in trouble. Spacer's Choice Saltuna is renowned across the system for its quality flavors and additives. We used to sell citrus-flavored Saltuna in our heyday. Ever since Adelaide left, we have been reduced to selling unflavored and spearmint.
Позвольте спросить кое-что еще.
Go ahead.
Вы прямо-таки одержимы желанием вернуть Аделаиду.
Adelaide was our only flavor specialist. We are a Saltuna canning institution. Saltuna without flavor is like a cysty pig without tumors, borderline inedible.
Вы что, одним Кетунцем питаетесь.
Were it up to me, friend, I'd stack our larders with saltuna galore. No other brand of saltuna adds as much vim or vigor to the body's humors. But, and this is something we must keep between the two of us, saltuna is hard to come by, what with being a species indigenous to the seas of another world.
Минуточку, так что вы здесь консервируете?
Oh, we've scavenged together some organic material from the surrounding environs. Mostly organic, mostly local mushrooms. Some of which possess a texture akin to a well-boiled slab of saltuna. The difference is all but impossible to detect to any but the prissiest of palate.
Позвольте спросить кое-что
Go
еще.
ahead.
Так, как его убедить?
I appreciate what you've done for...
Я поговорил с Аделаидой, она не вернется, пока вы здесь.
Then we are at an impasse. Stewardship over this town has been entrusted to me by Spacer's choice. I am not perfect. I have made my share of mistakes. But I have done my best for this town.
Возможно, этому городу нужно сменить руководство.
I am a Spacer's choice man. My father was a Spacer's choice man. Edgewater may not look like much to some buttoned-up freelancer, but it is my home.
Аделаида выразилась предельно ясно. Она не вернется, пока вы не уйдете.
Unless you can demonstrate to me that we are helpless without her, I see no reason why I should stand down.
Убеждение 15. Аделаида нашла способ выращивать продовольственные культуры. Она вернется, если вы согласитесь уйти.
You will excuse me for being skeptical? How exactly is Adelaide growing crops in barren soil?
Слушайте, Рит, я знаю только, что тут замешана очень сложная математика и что оно работает.
If Adelaide's found a way to feed her people and cure the plague, then she deserves this office more than I do. I won't stand in her way. My life here is ended. Give me a little time to settle my affairs. I'm sure Adelaide will be glad to see the back of me.
Что планируете делать дальше?
A couple months ago, I might have put in for a transfer. It's a big colony. Spacer's Choice has other towns. Now, I couldn't show my face in any of them.
Почему?
No such thing as an honorable resignation. Suppose I could find a place outside the walls, or put in for early retirement.
За городскими стенами вы и дня не продержите.
I don't know. I could see myself lasting a week.
Вам не обязательно этого делать.
I do. Adelaide's found a cure for the plague, and she knows how to tend to crop. She's what this town needs.
Вам должно быть нелегко.
I have always tried to do right by my town. It has never been easy.
Всего хорошего.
I think you did the rightest thing you could sending the power back to Edgewater. A lot of people would have suffered otherwise. People I care for. Even if they don't care much for me.
Поговорим тогда позже.
Look at that. The snake's come back.
Я уговорил Рида уйти. Возвращайтесь в Джоутер.
I never thought I'd see the day that Reed Thompson abandoned his post. Suppose we all have a breaking point. Suppose it's time our flock made our way back to Edgewater. We must tend to what remains of the town and carry on with our lives as best we may. You're vexing to me, you know? Injuring us with one hand, helping us with the other. Here, I'm giving you something to leave us be. It's a ransom, you understand, not a reward.
Я поступил неправильно, но я хочу это исправить.
This don't put us on even footing, you understand. But it is a start. I might turn that old cannery into a garden. Got ourselves a whole cemetery bursting with bodies. I need some time to gather my personals. Long walk back to Edgewater. Got a considerable burden to carry.
Всего хорошего.
That was a good thing you did, Captain. Helping to bring the deserters and Edgewater folks back together. I hope you rest well on that.
Магазин. Мага 2 шок. Это установлено. Получается, это можно установить. Ясно. Ручной пулемет. Пистолет Болтер. Что за пистолет Болтер? 31.
Is this your ship? Oh my stars, she is just so handsome. Does she have a name yet? What's her drive model? Oh, gosh. Listen to me babbling. When I was in Edgewater, I dreamed of flying on a real ship, working on a real engine, belonging to a proper crew. I'm the only decent mechanic Edgewater's got, but every time I think of going back, I get this sinking feeling.
Ты никогда не была на таком корабле?
I've worked on the occasional supply coach in need of repairs. Once I built a little model craft out of spare parts, but Mr. Thompson found out and I had to take it apart. I want to ask you something, and you can say no. But can I come with you? I could tend to your engine. I know my G-valves from my catalyzers, and I can keep your ship singing. And if you ever need a pair of eyes watching your back, I can do that too. What do you think?
С радостью возьму тебя в команду. Можешь выбирать себе каюту.
Yes! I mean, thanks. You won't regret this, mister. Captain. I can call you Captain now. Ha! I got a captain.
Well, I certainly am looking forward to flying on a ship named the Unreliable. I'll just head upstairs and claim a room. I could spend hours reflecting on the secret workings of the universe. Little else in this colony offers such a relaxing pastime. So, tell me what's on your mind. I excel at confessional listening.
Не нравится хоть немного понимать тех, с кем я летаю. Расскажи о себе.
Nothing too out of the ordinary. Just your run-of-the-mill vicar with a violently enthusiastic disposition.
Склонность к буйному энтузиазму.
That's what my parents called it. I grew up in a pit of a town much like Edgewater. I was destined to be a laborer like my parents, but I was infected early with a need to solve the equation. My passion didn't sit well with them.
Почему ты так загорелся этой идеей?
My parents, ironically. They internalized the precepts of scientism like no one I've ever known. They had a pure faith, a faith that brought joy to them regardless of the situation. I envied that. I wanted that peace. I thought if I became a vicar, I could find it. Or at the very least, find out why I lacked it.
Неужели они не гордились тобой, когда ты стал викарием?
They thought I was fighting the plan, should have accepted my lot. Some people pursue the clergy for power, prestige, but that was not me.
Если человек не в состоянии противиться плану, значит все твои действия его часть, разве не так?
The plan is not one rigid path. There are a variety of multitudes contained within it. Our paths have variance, but we'll end up adhering to it, whether we like it or not. Some choices make the path smoother, some rougher. You can even go outside the lines, but the further outside you go, it's like an unbreakable elastic band. It will only stretch so far before it snaps back. The further it is stretched, the more violent the eventual correction.
Это же насколько надо быть доверчивым, чтобы наняться на корабль, ничего не зная о капитане.
I have run headlong into too many walls in my pursuit of the truth. This book is my last hope, and you were my only hope of getting it translated.
Вдруг в книге нет ответов, которые ты ищешь.
I honestly don't know what I'd do. This quest has consumed me for the better part of my life. Fear there's nothing else left to me. What about you? What's your story?
Я был среди колонистов на Надежде. Меня спас ученый по имени Уэллс.
And how did he do that?
Он выкрал мое тело из Надежды на окраине колонии и разморозил его.
Well, you do seem different than every other colonist. Let's pretend for the moment I believe you. What are you going to do now?
Я смогу ему разбить еще химиката, чтобы он спас оставшихся колонистов.
That seems a dangerous proposition. Why risk your life now that it's been returned to you?
На Надежде были мои родные.
Oh, I see. You have my condolences.
Расскажи мне еще раз той книги на французском.
Bakonu, the author, had some interesting theories about man's perception of reality that I thought could be applied to our attempts to decipher the plan. Unfortunately, he was also one of the founders of the philosophist school of thought, so the book is banned in this colony.
Напомни, что думаешь про софистов.
Philosophism's a false religion that stands in contradiction to almost everything we know to be true. They believe all is chaos, in stark contrast to OSI's belief in the plan. But most of the philosophist perversion of Bakonu's thoughts came more than a century after his death.
Есть идеи, как найти в колонии человека, который знает французский.
I've been thinking on that. There's a former infamous philosopher scholar who fled Tera 2 some years ago. He's an expert on Bakonu. He's also who told me of the journal's presence in Emerald Vale. If anyone in this colony could translate that book, it would be him.
Удачная мысль, но как мы его найдем?
That's a good question. We should start on the Groundbreaker. It's where I'd go if I wanted to get off Tera 2. Great place to pick up a ride to Hephaestus, Scylla, even Monarch. All I need is access to a data cartridge from the security terminal. Their easily hackable system keeps a registry of all crew manifests for both arrivals and departures.
Как манифест экипажа поможет нам выследить твоего ученого?
I'll comb the last 6 months of departure manifests to track the philosophist's off-world destination.
Как так получилось, что простой викарий оказался умелым хакером?
Before I transferred to Edgewater, I had a wealth of time to develop certain, secular skills during my years serving a particular penitentiary flock. I meditated, led sermons, provided guidance to the inmates as needed, of course. I also played prison yard tossball and taught myself a bit about computronic security systems.
Отлично, тогда вперед.
Thank you, Captain.
Yeah, huh?
Captain, I have detected that Edgewater's power supply is now optimal. I applaud your willingness to invest your time in the local community. What can I do for you, Captain?
Регулятор мощности у меня.
Do you know how to install a power regulator?
Инженерия 25, да, можешь на меня положиться.
Outstanding, Captain. Your aptitude for engineering will prove invaluable in the event of another catastrophic engine failure. Our engine room is located behind you. Across the cargo bay, up the ladders.
Я скоро вернусь.
What can I do for you, Captain?
Я установил регулятор мощности.
All systems are operating within acceptable parameters. I am prepared to bring the unreliable into low-altitude orbit. This should prove an adequate test of our flight capabilities.
Полетели отсюда.
We have received a communication request from Dr. Phineas Wells.
Отлично, давно хочу с ним поговорить.
Aha, there you are, hale and hearty, and captain of your own ship. I see you're putting the unreliable to good use. Shame about her former captain, horrible way to die. How are you feeling, by the way? I lost track of you in that cave back there. Experiencing any, unnatural drippage? Perfectly normal side effect of thawing, I assure you.
Иногда немного кружится голова. Еще я научился замедлять время.
Oh, that, yes, that's probably permanent. I wouldn't worry about it, though. I'm sure you're fine. What you saw in Emerald Vale is happening all across the colony. Food shortages, lack of supplies, and basic necessities. We're dying. The chairman, the minister, and all their lackeys on the board are to blame. The Hope has some of the brightest minds Earth ever sent us. If we can revive the Hope's colonists, they can help us undo the board's mistakes. They can help us set things right. You need to get to Stellar Bay on Monarch. I have contacts there. They'll help me, help us, find the chemicals to revive your fellow colonists. Gladys Culkelly, lovely woman, runs a cozy little black marketing outfit on the Groundbreaker. She can get you a nav key to land on Stellar Bay.
Зачем мне нужен нави-ключ для посадки на планету?
Strictly speaking, Monarch is a moon, terraformed badly, and almost completely lawless. You'll love it. Captains don't fly their own ships, you see. Your navigation terminal handles the, navigation. Think of a nav key as a set of flight instructions. The board's been confiscating nav keys for Stellar Bay, so we must rely on unconventional means of acquisition. Hence, Miss Gladys Culkelly.
Что помешает мне просто покинуть океан?
Without a skip drive, good luck. You'll be dead before you make it to the nearest star. Look, I admire your optimism, but the sad truth is you're stuck here. You, me, and the rest of this colony. We're all skating precariously around the edge of oblivion together. None of us are leaving Halcyon alive, so we may as well make it a better place, and we can start by reviving the hope.
Насчет этой Глэдис. Чего мне доверять ей?
Gladys and I have been doing business for years. Her smuggling credentials are unimpeachable. If anyone can get you a key to Monarch, it's her.
Разве я не могу совершить посадку за пределами Stellar Bay?
In theory, I suppose you could land your ship in Cascadia, and in theory, I suppose you might survive the experience. Cascadia is utterly seething with dangerous, highly aggressive creatures more than capable of tearing you limb from limb. You'd have to be a lunatic to land in Cascadia, and I'm reasonably certain I tested your brain for incipient signs of insanity. Trust me, talk to Gladys Culkelly.
Ладно, тогда я поговорю с этой Глэдис.
Excellent. I'll send her a wireless. Let her know you're coming. By the way, I gave Captain Hawthorne a disguise apparatus of my own design, cutting-edge technology years ahead of its time. I call it the Holographic Shroud. I'm sure it will prove remarkably useful to you. You'll find it in the captain's quarters.
Не объяснишь, что вообще такое Голографический плащ.
Marvelous device. I'm quite proud of myself. The shroud changes the user's appearance to mimic that of another. It has limits. First-generation technology, you see, but promising. Exciting to see it in use at last. Very simply, the holographic shroud uses biometric information contained on standard identity cartridges to generate a holographic projection around you.
Твое творение в хороших руках, спасибо.
Excellent. I'll contact you once you've found a way to get to Stellar Bay. If you have any questions, come see me in my lab. And remember, don't trust the board. They'll try to win you over with promises of wealth and power, but it's a lie. The board's only interested in filling their own pockets. If we don't put a stop to them, they're going to run this colony to the ground.
Transmission ended. If you are ready to depart, please select a destination on your navigation terminal.
Понятно.
Yeah, so this is my hidey spot now. I was looking for a place that was quiet. I figured the kitchen would be louder than the hold, so here I am. Cozy-like, ain't it?
Что думаешь о корабле?
That's in pretty good shape considering how hard Mr. Hawthorne ran it. It's a Yakita LHA 120, A2 model, I'm pretty sure. The Block 2 design scooshed in extra cargo space but didn't change the stock engines. Probably a touch underpowered, huh?
Accurate in all particulars. I conclude you are Edgewater's board-certified mechanic.
Это бортовой компьютер, у него нет сознания, но он неплохо его вымыть. Именно Ада управляет нашим кораблем.
Fly-by-wire's pretty normal. Or leastways, that's what I read in the trades. I've never been on a real ship before. Hello! I am not a board-certified mechanic, but my dad was. He taught me all he knew. Do you understand?
Speech recognition is one of the many skills I have been programmed to simulate.
You're not simulating it, you're doing it! I asked a question and you answered it.
I am gratified you consider this facsimile convincing.
Ада, с этого момента Парвати будет заниматься твоим ремонтом. Будь готова к сотрудничеству.
I am at your disposal, Ms. Parvati. You will find the technical schematics in the engineer's locker, though I'm afraid Captain Hawthorne has lost the owner's manual.
I don't see any holes in the hull. I'll take a good squint at her, make sure everything's tip-top. But I think we're cooking with plasma torches. You can do that, you know. My dad taught me how to make grilled cheese sandwiches with a plasma torch.
Перерыв окончен.
What? You want me to leave? Cap... Oh.
Так, это наверх надо идти. Так. Задание напарника, пустышка. Икарима, оружие бездны.
Would you like a reminder on when your next shower is scheduled?
В лабораторію може світати.
Destination reached. The groundbreaker.
Can we talk? Hey, Captain. I heard that Groundbreaker's got a real good engineer. A lady named Junlei Tennyson?
А что такое?
I was thinking that maybe I ought to meet her. If you got time to swing us by, I mean. I don't got much experience fixing actual spaceships. I bet you a can of Borston beans she could teach me all manner of stuff.
Конечно, можем сейчас отправиться в инженерную.
Thanks, Captain. I'll be sure to make it worth your time. Did you want to talk about something else? Captain. Hey, Captain. I'm in space. I never thought I'd be able to say that.
That's not the point. This halfwit just knocked out one of my workers.
Yeah, with a toss ball stick. I heard you the first time.
Hey, no offense, but I don't think this walking Saltunican's gonna appreciate you interrupting.
Keep talking, Millstone. See what happens. Now's not a good time. I'm dealing with a problem here.
So, go space yourself. Problem solved.
You must really want a truncheon through your teeth.
Спокойнее, дайте мне поговорить с этим дебоширом.
Do what you want. I'm done here.
Whatever you heard, it's all true.
Мне хочется услышать твою версию, что случилось.
I had this foreman, right? Guy never liked me, always trying to get a rise out of me. But I keep my chin up, right? Be the bigger man, I tell myself. He's a Spacer's chosen man, though. So when the chosen beat my Rangers the other night, my foreman comes swaggering up with his head full of boasting.
Тогда ты разрешил ваши разногласия как взрослый человек, да?
That's when I broadsided him with a tossball stick. Yeah. Look, this was a long time coming. Guy thinks he can push me around because he's some sky-high foreman, and I'm just a back bay's dock worker. Well, former dock worker. Guess I just tendered my resignation.
Уже придумал, что будешь делать дальше?
Enjoy my freedom. Scrounged together enough bits for a 0G. Other than that, can't say as I do. Hey, not for nothing. But I saw you wander out of that ship over there by the dock. Wouldn't happen to be yours, would it?
Именно так, я капитан безнадежного.
Captain of the Unreliable. You're like something out of a serial drama. Hey, I don't want to talk your ears off, guessing you got places to be. I appreciate your time.
Что, торопишься куда-то?
Oh, not at all. Just, you know, gonna figure out what to do next. See you around, boss.
Hmm?
Грузчик.
Customs and inspection, right this way. Identification, please.
Пожалуйста.
Captain Hawthorne, you said. Let me apologize in advance. I'm about to ruin your day. According to your ship's record, you've been flagged by the board. Your ship will be impounded until such a time as they see fit to lift it.
But we've hardly been out of Edgewater long enough to get in trouble.
Now, hold on. This isn't the end of the world. Probably.
И как же это исправить?
You'll want to take it up with Udom Bedford, our board representative here on Groundbreaker. His office is located along the starboard wall of the promenade. Shines like a Byzantium commode. You can't miss it.
А почему задержали мой корабль?
Access to that information is above my pay grade, and I've turned down 3 promotions, so it stays that way. I shouldn't be mentioning it, but what the hell? This here, impounding your ship, it doesn't happen much. The board knows we don't take kindly to their interfering in our operations. If I had to take a guess as to why, you must have riled up someone important.
Отлично, пойду поговорю с ними и проясню ситуацию.
You take the starch out of them, well, you won't hear any complaints from me. Oh, and if you're headed that way, would you mind doing me a favor?
Конечно.
Wanda Dorset over in sickbay, tell her the shipment's not in yet. It's not coming in anytime soon, and if she'd be so obliged to get off my ass about it.
Ее груз?
A handful of SAM cleaning units retrofitted for surgery. I don't know much else. I stopped listening when she started yelling.
Ясно.
Much appreciated. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Здесь можно найти работу?
Maybe. Most of the shipping traffic in the system passes through Groundbreaker. Every couple of months, we even get a big interstellar freighter. 2 biggest operations are the board. That is, Halcyon Holdings and Sublight Salvage. But there are independent operators around the promenade deck. Most of those jobs are going to take you off station, though.
Как работает Halcyon Holdings? Кстати.
Are you pulling my leg?
Я здесь недавно.
You must be one of them long-haul freighters from outside the colony. Well, I won't hold it against you. Goes like this. Back on Earth, before the crossing, the powers that be were selling off stakes in distant star systems they thought had potential. A bunch of companies decided to throw in together and form the Halcyon Holdings Corporation, then buy up the rights to this here colony. That group's what we now call the Board.
Коллегия управляет большой частью системы, да?
Yep. Groundbreaker's the only real independent port. Aside from us, there's just tramp freighters and wildcat miners. Seems like every year the board's offices get bigger and their ships take up more of the landing base. Haven't seen nearly as many tramp crews this year.
А первопроходец как в это вписывается?
Groundbreaker was one of the original colony vessels to come over on the crossing, a few years before her sister ship, the Hope. Once everybody'd been de-thawed and dropped dirt side, the original crew of the Groundbreaker decided they rather liked the spacefaring life. I guess that was the start of our independent spirit. Now, here we are.
Значит, где-то есть на самом деле помещение, где сидят главы этих компаний.
Sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, yeah, probably. Can't say for sure, of course. Doubt I'll ever see the inside of it myself.
Ясно.
Glad to help.
Кто мог подумать, что в системе столько независимых работодателей?
Relative to the board holdings? Not really. But there's a few with the means to go where they will. They aren't rich, but they aren't likely to look too close at your work history either.
Что скажете про субцвет утиль?
They strip the parts from derelict ships and abandoned outposts. There's some that say they make the derelicts and encourage folks to abandon their steads. Sublight gives me the creeps. I've known folks who went to work for them and just vanished. They're on the promenade run by a woman named Lilia Hagen. I'm only telling you so you know to avoid them.
Я ищу что-нибудь местное.
Commandant Sanita might have a couple of folks she needs killed. Bad folks, I mean. Not regular folks. She'll be at the security desk behind me. Chief Junlei might have an errand needs running. She's all tied up trying to fix our heat problem. You'll find her in engineering.
No kidding? I'd love to get a look at this old girl's innards. I bet they're real twisty and weird. In a good way.
Понятно, спасибо.
Happy to help. That's my job, after all.
You're real good at it, too.
Well, thank you, miss. It's nice to be recognized. Yep.
Насчет работы мне все понятно.
All right.
Я ищу некую Гладис.
The fence. You'll find her in the rest and go. On your left when you enter the promenade. Make sure you bring an empty belly.
Я хочу выпить, что посоветуете.
Most places are on the promenade deck. Big door yonder, straight through security. There's a bar on the starboard side. I got a preference for the Lost Hope myself. Talk to Vera. She'll set you right.
Ясно.
You need anything else? You let me know. Don't want anyone saying Groundbreaker's not the most hospitable port in the colony.
Что можете рассказать про Удома Бетфорда?
He's friendly enough unless you speak ill of the board. Get the sense he doesn't care for Groundbreaker much. Not that he would, being a board man and all. He's our liaison.
Забавный, похоже.
Really likes his cereals, too. Maybe a little too much. Bit of a weird bird, all told.
Don't see what's so wrong about liking cereals. They're fun.
Udon takes it to an, unhealthy level.
Похоже, между коллегией и первопроходцами есть какое-то трение.
You noticed, huh?
Наблюдательность — моя сильная сторона.
What can I say? We're passionate folks, and the board can't abide that independent spirit, especially not when it might impact their bottom line. All their interstellar freighters come through us, and we skim a few bits off the top in manifest processing fees with every one. Folks around here will bluster that the board hates our freedom, but really, they know we can stop their out-system shipments anytime we like, and that terrifies them.
А почему первопроходец и коллегии просто не могут работать сообща?
You sure you didn't just step off one of the interstellar freighters? There's no working with the board. They don't share, not bits, people, or resources. You work for them, or you don't work at all. Groundbreaker cooperating now would be tantamount to joining their ranks, and we sure as shit ain't about to do that.
Хорошо, что это их гадов не пугает. Продолжим на них давить. Как-то все очень сложно.
Sounds like, yeah. But from where I sit, it's all coming through loud and clear. They got assault cruisers, gunships, and a handful of mining operations at their fingertips. We push them too hard, maybe they decide we'd be better in 10 trillion little pieces. Or they cobble together a new Groundbreaker and put us out of business.
The board wouldn't do that. Would they?
It's a tough line to walk, no doubt about that. But we make do all right. So far, anyway.
Спасибо за информацию.
Sure thing.
Увидимся.
Be seeing you.
I wonder what that fella did to get the board so riled at him.
Unless you're here to file an incident report or to inquire about the bounty posting, I must kindly ask you to clear out. The Mardet's offices aren't for leisure time nor loitering.
Меня интересует награда за Макреда. Где я могу его найти?
Last tip we got pointed toward the back bays. You want the reward? Do the legwork.
Почему бы не послать за ним морпехов?
Oh, I will. Soon as the chief approves the personnel reorg required for a bounty dispatch. So, in about 3 to 7 weeks.
Я возьмусь.
You and about 6 other enterprising mavericks. It's only a matter of time before someone brings me McRed's head, or his lucky lighter, as proof of kill. I do hope you're the lucky hunter, though. Good luck and skip speed to you.
Какие вознаграждения сейчас доступны?
Still waiting to hear back on that bounty for McRed. That aside, not much else. Groundbreaker's keeping calm at the moment.
Мне на глаза попалось объявление о розыске Финиаса Уэллса.
The outlaw scientist fella, right. The board's had it out for him for ages. If you have an inkling of the wheres or what-fors of his location, Udon Bedford would surely like to hear it.
Это тот знаменитый преступник.
To the board, yeah. You've read his wanted poster. Whole list of things to get their unders in a wad. But he's never done nothing to Groundbreaker, so I've no problem with him. We keep the poster up to keep the peace is all.
А каково это работать в службе охраны на космической станции?
Do I look like your gossipy best friend? While I'm on post, I take my duties real serious. I would have no qualms whatsoever escorting you to a cell. Understand?
Ладно, мне просто хотелось поговорить.
I'm not here for a chat. Now get moving before I see you moved.
А почему морпехи?
We're the security force here on Groundbreaker. Started back before the crossing, you know.
Почему морпех, а не охранник или офицер?
The original force was made up of a Marine detachment from the 77th Marine Expeditionary Unit, Trailward Fleet. Folks started calling us Mardets because it was easier to say. Guess it stuck.
Я уже иду.
This is Halcyon Noon. We interrupt your regularly scheduled...
Rizzo's Purpleberry Punch. You want a punch? We've got your punch right here.
Ooh, can we rent an upstairs room?
Got my sights on you.
Bless my heart. A stranger come knocking on a poor old woman's door. You here for a particular reason? Or did the neighbors tell you how good my sugar cookies are? Made without a single natural ingredient, or an oven. Just like store-bought.
Покажите, что у вас есть на продажу.
I've got a lovely little throw pillow. Just something I toss together. Like to keep my hands busy.
Ну, 11 660. Да, починить. Продать оружие.
Gracious. I was just sitting down for tea.
Меня прислал Виня, сказал, что у вас можно купить нави-ключ Stellar Bay.
Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their noses up at the board. You and I could be thrown to the void just for discussing such a transaction. Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port. We're outside of the board's control. For the time being, at least. Now, I only have the one nav key. And they're hard to come by these days. It won't be cheap. If you find yourself lacking in the bits, I might have an opportunity you'd be interested in.
Можно мне скидку, раз я от Виниаса?
Phineas, that old kook. He was quite the dancer back in his prime, did he tell you? Real light on his feet. Real light in the wallet, too. He still owes me a small fortune. Laws. Maybe I should charge you double.
Расскажите мне про интересный вариант.
Well, I find I'm in need of a ship captain with a little moral flexibility. Might be this could help out the Groundbreaker, as well as earn some bits. But if you've got qualms...
А какая еще есть работа?
Might want to acquaint yourself with Junlei Tennyson, Groundbreaker's chief. She's been trying to get a handle on this heat problem we've got. You'll find her fretting in engineering. I'd say she's a sweet girl, but law forfend someone call me a liar.
Я хочу поговорить про интересный вариант, который вы упоминали.
Yes, dearie?
С удовольствием этим займусь.
Ain't that just a treat? So, you know Edna, over in engineering? On occasion, she'll pass along transmissions I might find interesting. She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the Groundbreaker's comm array. Curious thing is, it came from an outpost called Roseway. And Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago.
Почему Роузвей забросили?
Can't say I know for sure. Maybe it never really was.
Comm centers don't operate themselves, Captain. Someone had to have sent that distress call manually.
Those corps are cleverer than all get out. Might have been a ruse to keep the rest of the board from sniffing around.
Хватит слове в деле.
You've got an ear for intrigue and a nose for bits. I like that. Here's a copy of the SOS recording, complete with the coordinates. If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. Corporate bigwigs will pay top bit for inside information on their competitors. The more we got the corps fighting each other, the less time they got to meddle in our affairs.
Заброшенный аванпост, корпоративные секреты, ясно.
Don't forget to come find old Gladys when you're done.
Спасибо за внимание.
Anytime, sweetheart. You know where to find me. Here, take a candy with you.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled...
Так, сигнал бедствия, на страже, задание на пару.
Seeking relief from the heat? Till June Lay gets those radiators fixed, I've got the next best thing.
Бывает торговцы со всей системы, что-нибудь интересное слышала?
Some big shot down in Byzantium's holding auditions for a new adventure serial. So yay, another 6 of those next season.
А что за проблема с жарой, на которую люди жалуются?
The radiators, they're fucked 10 ways to Sunday. And we're all sweating buckets wondering when the powers that be are gonna get around to fixing it.
Похоже, у вас проблема с системой температурного контроля.
Couldn't say, and I wouldn't be pouring drinks professionally if I could. All I know is we're cooking in our own juices here, and it's only gonna get worse.
Зачем вам нужны радиаторы?
They're supposed to gather up all the heat the systems generate and vent it into space. Instead of the heat going where it ought, though, it seems to be blowing straight down the promenade.
И как долго это продолжается?
Weeks? I lost track. Too law-damn long.
А кто отвечает за ремонт?
Engineering. Chief Junlei Tennyson, to be precise. She runs this heap. Best she can, anyway. Don't know what's got her dragging her heels, but I wish she'd hurry it up.
Может, я смогу что-нибудь сделать?
That's not for me to say. But if you're feeling the urge toward helpfulness, you can find Chief Junlei in engineering.
Что скажете про старшую Дзюнлей?
There's nobody who knows more about the station's guts. Any system you could name, June's crawled around inside and made it better. She doesn't come around here often, though. Don't see her as much of a drinker. Too straight-laced for that.
Мне пока ничего не нужно, спасибо.
Need directions? Try an engineer.
Hey there. What are you doing after work? What's a nice...
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. The board would like to remind spacers and other classes.
You know that sound when you've snapped on an injector clip? Ah, that's how you know your weapon loves you back. I got a full line of weapon modifications I'd be happy to show you.
Зачем нужно модифицировать оружие?
Why, it gets you the weapon best suited for your lifestyle.
All the better for performing a little percussive maintenance.
Take your basic Deadeye assault rifle. Perfectly serviceable. But what if you like finesse? Slap a scope and silencer on that bad boy. Bunker down in a bush someplace and pop off heads. What if you like getting in close and making a lot of noise? Extended ammo magazine and a barrel heatsink to bump up rate of fire.
Как мне использовать модификацию?
Only takes a bit of elbow grease and a spot of engineering know-how. Most ships have a workbench near the cargo hold. Ours is in engineering. You could take your new toys over there if you feel like tinkering.
Если передумаю, можно убрать модификацию или заменить ее?
No and yes. When you install something, it pops in there real nice, but if you want to replace it, the originals tend to snap like plastic toys.
Где найти модификацию?
Right here for a start. I got a fair selection. Modified weapons are my specialty.
Модификация оружия обнуляет гарантию?
A what? Sorry, hon. Here at Bell's Shells, we just don't discuss impolite topics, and WARRA and TIES tops the list.
Спасибо, это все, что мне нужно было знать.
So, what can I get you?
Покажите, что у вас есть на продажу.
Sorry about the heat. Chief Tennyson will get the radiators fixed soon. Of course, this heat sure makes a 0G brew extra refreshing. It's an ale that's good for what ails you. Oh, and it's not the best choice, it's Spacer's choice. Taste the freedom. A lot of slogans to keep track of. Sometimes I forget.
Вы работаете на просто космос приходится бывать в Edgewater.
Heard of it? My orientation aether wave showed that famous Saltuna cannery, which I'm sure smells as good as it looks.
Не все так плохо, они сопротивляются, но у них добрые сердца.
Yeah. I hope they're gonna be okay.
That's a spacious choice, Spirit. Take what you have, polish it up, and make the best of it. So, what can I get you? Some soap? Everyone loves soap. Everyone will love you for using it, too.
Что же вы продаете?
Anything and everything. Whatever you want. We got it. And when you need a replacement, we got that, too.
Если понадобится замена, то качество не фонтан, похоже.
Just the opposite. Spacer's Choice items are always new, hot off the shelves, because customers just can't stop buying new stuff. Oh, sorry. Got the line wrong. You want me to do it again?
Если вы не против.
Spacer's Choice items are always new, hot off the shelves, because customers just can't stop improving their lives with our fine products. You could go broke buying overpriced Aramid gear, or you could buy from us at a much more reasonable rate.
Мне цены кажутся достаточно высокими.
Well, this is just the beginning of a long, fruitful relationship. Who knows what discounts await the loyal customer?
Я ухожу.
I'm not going anywhere, you hear? You can't keep me out of there.
Please don't make a scene, Dr. Fenhill.
I am not making a scene.
I'm sorry. Am I causing a scene?
See, Umfuru? We could have avoided all this unpleasantness if you just let me talk to Jessie in the first place.
Что случилось с твоей подругой?
Let me get one thing straight. Jessie and I are not friends. I just owe her, okay? As for the rest, I'm trying to figure that out. All I know is that she's been here too long, and she's apparently not receiving visitors.
Может, я попробую проведать Джесси?
Be my guest. If you know something I don't about dealing with hospital bureaucracy, I'll be impressed.
What seems to be the problem?
Я могу увидеть Джесси Дойл.
If only my other patients had so many inquiring after them. I'll tell you what I've told the others. The records say Miss Doyle checked herself in and requested I admit no visitors. The requests of our patients are paramount, so no, you may not see her.
Если верить записям, а вы сами-то с ней беседовали?
She's not my patient. I'm certain no one on my staff would falsify patient records, if that's what you're implying.
Могу я у вас покупки делать? Ассортимент очень богатый.
Not without dispensation from Chief Jun Lei, I fear. Supplies are hard to come by out here.
То есть?
We don't have the ability to manufacture our own medical supplies here on Groundbreaker. Regrettably, we are dependent on the board for such mundane items as bandages and antibiotics, as well as more critical resources like adequately trained staff. We'd nearly signed a supply agreement with Anti-Cleos, but they demanded we only use their branded drugs, and that's simply not tenable.
Увидимся.
Take care.
Can't say I've seen you before. I take it you're a freighter captain? If you're here to better yourself, you'll have to wait. We're having a spot of trouble with our delivery service. He must be referring to Eridanos. I'm sure the fool's gotten himself into another scrape. I'm beginning to wonder if I'm ever gonna get my service mechanicals at this rate.
Что за Eridanos?
Our delivery man. A brave idiot with a penchant for getting himself delayed. Sometimes by dates, usually by bandits.
Зачем вам нужны автоматоны?
Surgery mostly. Medical personnel are difficult to come by on Groundbreaker.
Почему?
The board won't let their doctors and nurses station here, and they own all the medical schools. If we can't hire their people, we can't hire anyone. Everyone on staff here on Groundbreaker was trained by me or Idris. We're good, don't get me wrong. But we've only 2 heads between us, and we don't know everything.
Не могу попробовать его найти.
I'd be grateful if you'd spare the time. We need his delivery soon as yesterday. Last he told me, he was taking a shortcut by Scylla, an asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. That's where I'd start, were I the adventuring type. You look out, though. The place is probably crawling with outlaws.
Something I can help you with? Take care.
Так, а что сделать надо?
What do you think you're doing?
Keep your hands to yourself.
If you've got a complaint, file it at security.
You ever wonder if maybe folks keep doors closed for a reason?
For the last ratchet on rotten time, leave me in peace! You hull-headed quacks do know that restful recuperation requires not being disturbed, don't you?
Меня прислала Элли.
What? Why? Everything's fine. We're all fine here. No need for her to be worrying her pretty little head about me. I'm just terrible, dreadful sick is all. Got a cough that won't quit and sores all over my body. Highly, lethally contagious. But I'll be fine, so long as I'm left alone.
Она о тебе беспокоится очень.
Criminy. She really ain't gonna drop this, is she? Alright, okay. We can discuss this like the level-headed folk that we are. Seems I've got to do something before Ellie goes jabbering my business to anyone with one ear and an intent to listen.
The truth is, I'm not sick. But if you repeat what I'm about to tell you to anyone, I will deny it with my dying breath. You, ain't with the board, are you? See, I owe them a lot. I might have missed a payment or two, and the other night I swear someone was following me back to my room. So I hold up here to lay low.
Что ты натворила, чтобы оказаться в такой передряге?
What? No, I didn't do anything. I'm a law-abiding denizen of this ship, I swear.
Или все же ты думаешь, что коллеги тебя преследуют и поэтому скрываешься?
Think? No. I recognize a contracted killer when I see one, thank you. In my line of work, that's a skill you develop during week 1, assuming you want to keep breathing. All right, I'll fess this part up too, if it means you'll help me. I'm a thief. I specialize in particularly high-end and historically valuable items. 3 weeks back, I caught rumor that the blood-tier diamond, last worn by an heiress on the Lost Hope, had surfaced for the first time in 70 years.
Какие отношения к этому имеют коллеги?
Udam was my buyer for when I'd acquired the diamond. He paid half up front to finance the operation. Let's just say things went sideways about the time I got my hands on the diamond, and it crumbled to stardust in my palm. Anywho, I barely made it out with my life, and nary a plan to make back Udam's deposit I'd spent.
Элли попросила меня помочь тебе, и этим я и собираюсь заняться.
Udam Bedford's the board guy on the station. He'd know how I stand with them. If you can square things for me, I'd owe you one even bigger than Ellie owes me.
Я поговорю с Удомом.
Thanks for helping me with the board. You're a real pal. Or I guess I should say, Ellie is one, huh?
CNP near maple syrup. It's near this complete...
Got any leads on salvage? Doesn't even have to be broke yet. We'll take any.
Oh, neat! They got stuff in here I ain't seen in ages.
Go back to Byzantium, you gold-plated bastards.
Yeah, no one wants you on Groundbreaker.
I'm just gonna hang in the back and try not to touch anything.
Ah, yes. Wheeler messaged me you were coming. He must be the captain of the Unreliable, a vessel that used to be helmed by one Alex Hawthorne. And you are not he. Has something happened to my favorite scruffy freelancer?
Алекс мертв.
Oh no, this is terrible. My dear friend, what devilry is this? In whose miserable fever dream am I trapped?
Соболезную вашему горю.
Oh, Alex. There were so many arguments we'd yet to have.
Какие у вас были отношения?
He was my dearest friend. My only friend. You have his ship, you must know. That picture of us on the promenade, me hugging him, him wincing. I keep a copy beside my bed. Did he?
Ага, конечно.
Ah, that's just like him. Such a sentimental man. Tell me, how did he die?
Его съели заживо дикие псиды.
No! How dreadful. That was always Alex's greatest fear, you know. Devoured by those fiends. Becoming one with their droppings.
Повторюсь, мне очень жаль. Может, вернемся к основной теме?
Right. You're going important places, I'm sure. Big, exciting, important places. There, I've removed the flag from your ship. I'm terribly sorry for the inconvenience. However, before you go, Alex promised to tell me the location of Phineas Wells. I'm sure you've seen his wanted posters all over the colony. Did Alex tell you where Wells might be? Anything at all?
А зачем коллеге так нужен Уэллс?
You haven't read the posters? He's a terrorist, a thief, a madman. It's really in the colony's best interest that we stop him before he does further harm.
Почему вы думаете, что я что-то знаю про Уэллс?
Well, Alex knew, or he said he did. And you have his ship. Maybe he kept some records around, or a conveniently placed note on his bedside table.
Алекс никогда не говорил про Финиаса Уэллса.
Well, that's just terrible news. Law, what am I going to do now? The board will have my head. Oh, I'm sorry. This is terribly unprofessional of me. Is there anything else I might help you with?
Я хочу помочь Джесси Дойл уладить дело с ее долгом.
Miss Doyle owes the board a significant sum. Alas, the only collateral she has is her organs. Compulsory donation is quite legal in such cases.
Убеждение 20. Живое она стоит больше, чем мертвое. Заключайте с ней принудительный контракт.
That's not unreasonable.
I guess it's better than losing your organs, but I don't know, Captain. Just doesn't seem right.
Miss Doyle is deeply in debt, and the board has every right to do whatever they like to recoup that debt. What guarantee do I have that she'll agree to the terms you negotiate?
Как мне кажется, у нее нет выбора.
I quite concur. It's refreshing to deal with someone practical for a change. I will recall my collection agent. Tell Miss Doyle to report to me promptly for her first assignment. Now, is there anything else you need, or can I return to my work?
Я хочу спросить кое-что еще.
Be my guest.
Чем вы здесь занимаетесь?
I'm the certified representative of the board's interests here on the Groundbreaker. I'm their eyes, ears, and busy little hands.
Большой начальник на маленькой космической станции удобно.
I have few complaints.
Как бы мне добраться до Stellar Bay?
Good law! Who'd want to go to that toxic hell pit?
Вам не кажется, что здесь жарковато?
Law, but it's miserable. My underarms are damp. How can I be expected to work in these conditions? Chief Tennyson is supposedly looking into the cause, but I've seen no action from her. Deplorable conduct. My superiors will be hearing about it. You can be certain of that.
Зачем здесь вооруженная охрана?
Oh, you've noticed my friends. Wonderful. Aren't their guns very large? Tremendously impressive.
Здорово.
They're here to keep the peace, of course.
Чтобы вас охранять, то есть.
Precisely. Groundbreaker makes much ado about its independent status and so resents any board presence, no matter how benign.
Что офис на их променаде — это благожелательная инициатива?
When the alternative is board guards at their gates, yes, I do. They don't see it that way, of course, but I can't say I much care.
Что это там за запертая дверь?
A luxury stateroom, reserved for Chairman Rockwell's use.
Представитель здесь часто бывает?
Oh, good law, of course not. He'd never set foot on this decrepit junk pile. As this office is the primary embassy for the board on Groundbreaker, corporate bylaws specifically state a room must be maintained for the chairman's exclusive use.
Вернемся к другим вопросам.
Ask away.
Мы уходим.
Wish I could say it was good to see you, Ellie. At least you finally got your chance to square our debt. That ought to make you smile for once, huh?
Nothing makes me happier than being even. Except being right. That's nice, too. The good news came through the wireless. Looks like you paid my debt to Jesse. I guess that means I owe you now, right? Tell you what, I'm a little short on bits at the moment, but I'm a decent scrapper and a better-than-average sawbones. If you're looking for a medic, I can work my debt off.
Хочешь сказать, ты будешь работать на меня просто потому, что я помогаю Джесси?
If I'm being honest, and I prefer not to, I was about ready to pick up another contract anyway, and you settled this in a pretty tidy fashion, which tells me you're competent. But we can say I'm repaying the favor if you prefer that version.
А что именно для тебя сделала Джесси?
She helped me win a bet.
И о чем была пари?
We were on a smuggling run planetside when our point man bet me I couldn't outrun a mantisaur.
А дальше?
And as you can probably guess, the thing was faster than it looked. Probably would have caught me if Jesse hadn't picked it off.
Выходит, она спасла тебе жизнь?
Yeah, but the important thing is I won the bet.
Добро пожаловать на борт, Элли.
You won't be sorry. Or if you are, just add it to my debt and we'll figure something out.
Welcome to the crew, Miss Ellie. We're real happy to have you.
Спасибо за просмотр и тебе удачи. Всем спасибо за просмотр, ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал. Всем хорошего дня и настроения.